Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are, up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. I'm sure most of us know these simple lines. 4 simple lines in a simple song sung for children, Twinkle, twinkle, little star. It's an age-old tune that I can recall without much trouble, except this simple song, this little nursery rhyme that many of us are so accustomed to, isn't actually what it is. In fact, it's not 4 simple lines, it's a poem, a 5-stanza poem, and in fact there are 20 lines. And I think I stand for many people that we only ever remember those first 4 lines. Even in modern adaptations like Amor's Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, she only ever repeats the first 4 lines, and more relevant to this video, Your Line April has a small section dedicated to the nursery rhyme, but of course they only ever repeat the same 4 lines as well. I found this extremely strange, not just in the realm of Your Line April, but in the grand scheme of things. Why just those 4? The easy answer is that it's the most memorable. I can buy that, but I don't want to believe that to be the only answer. In a much more roundabout way, I think that the first 4 lines are representational of the time we learned a nursery rhyme. It's vindicative of what being a child is full of, curiosity. And the rest? The rest of the lines are an allegory to life, especially when you begin trying to find yourself and who you really are. But to really quantify that, I've taken Your Line April. We don't realize it, but what we learn, the things we grow up on, really become who we are and are really great mechanisms to predict how we are when we grow up. We take for granted the small things like nursery rhymes and even the way we interacted with the world. We don't grow up in vacuums or voids, but we definitely can be attuned to what we know and when we knew it.
3、はい。
When I was looking through the entirety of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, I began seeing a sad story. A story of a boy and a girl, about how the boy had been lost almost all his life, and found the light casted by the girl, and through that guiding light was brought back to life, given new life, but the girl had to leave him. She was struggling to survive, and upon her death gives the boy new hope, and presses him forward. This is how I saw the song Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and oh, would you look at that, is also the plot of Your Line April. Let's take it in chunks. The first 4 lines outlines the curiosity about just what exactly it is that lay in the night sky. This is where I would place the beginning of Your Line April. Kosei stops being able to hear his notes once his mother died. That was the same time he stopped playing piano. But when he meets Kaori, he gets interested again. He gets interested in her and in the strange way she played with music, almost danced and was unchanged by the restrictions of music. Here he shows his curiosity. Kosei still very much doesn't know if he likes piano or even if he can. He's still just on the fence, and he's very skeptical about the whole accompaniment with Kaori. But he does so anyway. He wonders about that world so high, that world of music that he once sat upon but fell out of. He sees the stars above, twinkling like a diamond in the sky, in the form of Kaori, and how bright she's shining in his world. It is this curiosity that drives the beginning of the story, and of life in general. We begin to learn through asking questions, and questioning the world around us. Things catch our eyes, and we want to know how it works and why it works. On a simpler level, it's why a lot of children ask a lot of questions. It's just how they work. And it's the best time for questions to be asked because a key window of opportunity exists only for children. They have the most neuroplasticity for learning things, and as Kosei begins to wonder about Kaori, he begins to learn things about himself and about others in ways that he never would have. Instead of being a shell of who he was, living in a vacuum and staying depressed, he seeks out his curiosity, even if that curiosity had to find him first. This is why I think it's important that he sings Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. When Kaori drags him to be her accompanist, it's really fitting and really well planned out. It signifies the beginning of his story, the beginning of his curiosity and of his path to finding himself all in episode 3. The next 4 lines also relate very closely to Kosei's first meeting with Kaori. When the blazing sun is gone, as in when light is gone or when hope is gone, when he nothing shines upon, Kosei definitely isn't shining on anything right now. Instead, he's in the dark, depressed, unable to do much because of what he's been through and his lack of motivation. If the previous line beckons towards childhood and curiosity, then I think these lines deal with what happens beyond that curiosity. Once you begin to understand the world a little more, once you begin to understand that you can't live as a child in a void for the rest of your life, you have to grow up eventually. And growing up means having to find who you are in the world. It's what Erickson would call his identity versus identity or role confusion stage, which is basically the stage before adulthood where you spend time finding out who you really are. I'd say that this fits Kosei to a T. He himself doesn't really have a great understanding of himself at all, and he just exists because he's there. He can't move on with his life until he finally gets over himself and the problems he has and what he wants to do in the future. That's when the lines "then you show your little light" happens, when Kaori comes and shows him her light, and he begins being entranced by this light, slowly finding himself in the process. Past this first meeting, Kaori brings Kosei through a competition where we see Kaori go to her first hospital visit, and despite being disqualified from that competition, Kosei is convinced by Kaori to keep moving forward. All the episodes leading up to when they next sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star in episode 12 all revolve around this transformation that occurs in Kosei. He is asked by Kaori in episode 6 Although transient, I think that's an incredibly important line for Kosei. It really helps him put into perspective about why he's doing what he's doing. This leads into the third stanza of the poem.
Tinkle, tinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
Then the traveler in the dark thanks you for your tiny spark. He could not see which way to go if you did not twinkle so. And the traveler in the dark being Kosei, led by Kaori, who gives him her tiny spark, thanks her for what she's done, for how much she's pushed him. Kosei could not see how he wanted to play the piano or why he was doing it if not for Kaori's insistence. In the end, Kosei plays and confronts his demons. He faces his past with his mother, and he comes out of it much stronger, much more attuned with who he is and what he has to do. This is when episode 12 rolls around, and they sing the first verse of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, a nice intermediary for the show, the halfway point of the show, and for how the actual poems progress so far. The very fact that Kosei initiates the song is how I interpret his thanks and appreciation for Kaori. But things take a dark turn. Kosei now knows what he wants to do. He's found himself out since we know he wants to move out to study music, but the person who's helped him get there is suffering. We know that Kaori is in critical condition, hanging on to dear life, but also pushing Kosei every bit of the way. She's struggling hard to want to play with Kosei, and at the same time to push Kosei to keep moving forward. This is where I see the lines, "for you never shut your eye," as in Kaori keeps pressing forward. She opts for the surgery in the end to try and beat her condition. She doesn't give up for a second and keeps moving forward. She doesn't shut her eye till the sun is in the sky, which is very vindicative of what actually happens. The last time we hear Twinkle Twinkle Little Star is in episode 18 in the hospital, where Kosei challenges Kaori to play with him again, inspiring her to go through with the surgery. We hear Twinkle Twinkle Little Star for one last time in episode 18, since we're finally at the last verses of the actual poem. It's Kaori's premature send-off. She never shuts her eyes until the sun is in the sky. The sun being the light that Kosei now has, the light, his dreams, his path in life. The one he's found because of Kaori is in the sky. And in his performance, he sees Kaori, a signal that she has died. She's finally shut her eyes. The last verse of the poem is the conclusion of the entire story. "'Tis your bright and tiny spark lights the traveler in the dark," a summary of everything that's happened, matching the letter that Kaori gives to Kosei. That brings us all the way back to episode 1, when Kaori makes the line April, and as the poem says, "Though I know not what you are, twinkle twinkle little star." Kosei really had no idea what was about to occur, about what would happen in being entranced by Kaori, and falling in love with her, and allowing her light to guide him to a path he never would have gotten to without her. The song ends, and Kosei's journey ends. He's found who he is, he's found out what he wants to do in life, and the show ends. There needn't be any more, because Twinkle Twinkle Little Star really is just about that journey, about that one path to find out who you are, and Kosei's done it. We only ever remember the first 4 lines. Maybe you have learned the entire song, maybe you even remember it, and if so, that's good. It would have been ingrained in your head. It's what nursery rhymes do. You remember them because they're catchy, but sometimes without realizing it, they may be much deeper and have greater semblances to our actual lives than we realize it. It might even be a good thing that only the first 4 lines are so popular. After all, that's what being children are all about, curiosity, and it isn't until later that we might need to know the rest of the song. So at least when we're young, we really should relish in what we know, and spare us the struggles and sadness for when we find out what's in that road so high. Alright guys, and that was Anilyze. Thank you for watching. And if you liked what I'm doing here with my kind of analytical framework, then maybe check out my other analyzes or our other content on Otaku Box. Definitely stay tuned for more content, and maybe hit that subscribe button if you want to know if we have more content. If not, then that's fine. You'll be on your way, and I'll be on my way. Signing off.